friendship that'll never ever end.
Run!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie Yo 400? 400? 400. Day in that neighborhood. My brothers and sisters, we are on Reaction Beanie Yo 400, y'all. And the only thing I can say for that man is, let's get to 500. Hope y'all doing excelente out there today. And I'm glad that you came on back to the channel once again to fuck with the bean. And today, we was gonna go back to true 911 calls. You know what I'm saying? It has been a long time since we last went to true 911 calls. And that's what I was thinking we was gonna check out today. But then, this man right here popped up on my recommended with a new video. And I'm like, oh man, we gotta check it out. I gotta check it out with my brothers and sisters. And that man that I'm talking about is none other than Adrian from Coffeehouse Crime. Back to the Coffee Man, y'all. You could never go wrong watching the Coffee Man videos. And the title of this one is When a Serial Criminal Murders His Entire Family. Killer Marsh Murders. Like, bro, it's different levels to this murdering shit. And murdering your entire family is like at the top of the line. It's like, it's at the very top. It's S tier. You know what I'm saying? And we ranking it because your family, bro, then your entire family, like you ain't care about your mama, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your niece, your nephew. You didn't give a damn. Now, I don't know exactly who he murdered, but it say his entire family. So it just let me know that this dude didn't have a care in the world about the same people that got the same blood flowing through their veins. You know what I'm saying, man? So I know this one's gonna be a crazy one, and we already know it's gonna be good because it's coming from the Coffee Man. So I'm just ready to check it out. But before we check it out, my brothers and sisters, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you may need. Get what you need, please. We back to Adrian from Coffeehouse Crime. Y'all got what y'all need? Y'all ready to go? Then let's fucking go.
Alright, stand here. See ya.
Right,
so,
we told you, I know what's going to happen to you now, mate.
Well, I know it's going to happen
just
when we go to prison, obviously, but again...
Why, what have you done? Have you done something to anyone else?
Yeah.
What have you done?
I've murdered 4 people.
This is Damien Bendel, a violent man with a long and dark history with the law. And at the time that this body cam footage took place, he already had more than a decade of charges and convictions under his belt. It's a shame that, on his final day as a free man, he would commit a crime so terrible that he would become one of Britain's most hated criminals, and be handed the harshest sentence possible under current UK law. This video walks you through the terrible life of Damien Bendel, the lives lost through his actions, and the many mistakes and glaring red flags that were found along the way. Welcome back to Coffeehouse Crime, folks. My name is Adrian, and today I'm back with another darkly fascinating story. But this one is particularly gruesome. You see, Damien can only be described as one of the most deplorable men in human history. And after hearing all of the details in this video, I'm sure you will agree. Oh, and by the way, I've got a bunch of very exciting projects in the pipeline. So if you want to keep updated with what they are, or simply love to caffeinate while you investigate, please consider subscribing. Anyway, with all of that out the way, please grab yourself a coffee, pull up a seat and get ready for the deep dive. This is the case of Damien Bendel.
get whatever you may need. And before we even get into it, y'all, one of the first things Adrian said is already like a red flag to me, like a alarm going off in my head, is the fact that this dude already had been in a whole bunch of shit before he even ended up committing these murders. You know what I'm saying, man? Like, bro, he should have been took off the streets. Like, it seemed like this could have been prevented a long time ago just from his past actions already. It's gonna be a crazy one, y'all. Let's get into it.
Welcome to merry old England, folks. Our story today pulls us to the county of Derbyshire. Nestled in the northeast of this historic county, and you will find the village of Killarmarsh. And unfortunately, it does live up to its name in this video. Just over 2 square miles in size, you won't find Killarmarsh to be a big or bustling city. It's home to just under 10,000 people, and is surrounded by many fields and lakes. There are mentions of this town dating as far back as 1086, making this place very rich in history. As with many settlements in this part of the country, Killarmarsh's economy was primarily driven by agriculture until the 1400s, which of course is when mining then took over to become its leading industry. Despite coal mining thriving for numerous centuries and playing a vital role in the growth of the village's population, it gradually declined in the 1980s as a majority of British coal mines started to undergo gradual closure. You can find the Rother Valley County Park near one of these mines, which provides 740 acres of beautiful landscape to explore and experience. Or maybe, if you're looking for something a little less rural, you could walk along the canal paths that snake through the village. For cyclists and especially mountain bikers, this really does seem like the place to be. Killarmarsh offers various tracks and trails of various difficulty and caliber. Many in the local area know of this, and these tracks usually serve as the most famous thing about Killarmarsh. However, in September of 2021, all of that changed.
Here we go.
At 7:26 a.m. on Sunday the 19th of September 2021, emergency services received a phone call from a man named Damien Bendel. The phone call was short, and Damien's request quite abrupt. As for what he said, I'll let you listen.
Basically, I need the police and the ambulance and that because I've killed 4 people.
Okay, just hold the line. Bear with me.
Being a relatively small village, it did not take long for officers to arrive. Responding at the scene 14 minutes later, they were faced with a calm yet disheveled man in a trench coat. This being Damien Bendel, the one to call 999.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Alright, come to me. Mate, have you got anything on you that you shouldn't have?
No, there's no weapons or nothing.
Right.
Right, do you just want them to do your coat? Have you armed yourself?
Yeah.
You have?
Have you stabbed yourself, mate?
I can see blood on your hands.
Yeah.
Anywhere else?
Just my chest, 4 inches in with a bread knife.
Can we have a look?
And one on the stomach. I bled quite.
Alright, do you want
I bled quite a lot.
yes.
Can we go down
No, just stay there.
I just don't want to be in front of everyone.
Alright.
Giving him the courtesy of stepping around the corner and away from prying eyes, officers soon learned that Damien was not lying. He had murdered 4 people in the home behind him, and he had multiple wounds to prove it. After clarifying his actions, Damien Bendel was handcuffed while officers called for backup and prepared to search the property. After stepping inside, they would find the bodies of 35-year-old Terry Harris and 3 children, and tragically, all 4 were pronounced dead at the scene. Terry was found in the living room, with 13-year-old John Paul Burnett found in the bathroom, and Lacey Burnett and her friend Connie Gent in the bedroom. Lacey and Connie were both only 11 years old. Blood was observed throughout the property, and a claw hammer was found alongside a bread knife in the kitchen. And, as you can imagine, after these findings, Damien was arrested immediately.
Damien, at 07:47 hours, I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder. You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence. Do not mention when questioned something you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Your arrest is necessary to protect you from harm, to prevent your disappearance, for a prompt and effective investigation. Okay? We're going to get you up, we're going to put you in the back of the van. Stand up.
This
This one right here is just freaking like, just so numbing to me. Like I'm like feeling like I'm feeling this murderer emotions as far as he don't have no freaking emotions. How could you just murder 4 people, kids and all, and just come out to the police and still act regular and say, yeah, I killed some people and this and that? Like, dude ain't got no emotions, and it's kind of like coming off on me. Like, I can feel how careless that he is about this whole situation. Now, I care. This is sad as hell. You know what I'm saying? This is the elf up. But just seeing how he acting like so nonchalant and yeah, I murdered 4 people and like it's nothing. And like, man. These people out here crazy, man. There's some people out here who are stone cold freaking crazy, my brothers and sisters. Here I go, already getting emotional and we just started the fucking video. Let's keep going.
The incident rocked the community of Killamarsh. In fact, this village had never faced a murder before in recorded history. And now, all of a sudden, they were dealing with 4. The household's unusual situation meant that many families were affected too. None of these children were actually biologically related to Damien. And as for his relationship with Terry Marsh, they'd only formed one several months prior. And Connie Gent, who wasn't related to anyone in the household at all, was merely staying overnight to stay with a friend. This was a tragedy that no one could see coming. As always, the devil is in the detail, and as you'll soon come to find out, there were many glaring red flags prior to the murders taking place. And, unfortunately, Damien would do far worse than just murder. It was later discovered that Damien had taken advantage of 11-year-old Lacey as she lay there dying, and would even come back for a second time once she had passed away, making this one of...
I'm finna walk out. I'm finna goddamn cut this fucking video off. Are you fucking kidding me? Did y'all just hear what the fuck Adrian just said? I don't even fucking want to repeat what he just said. Y'all might have to go rewind to hear it. But no, man, I'm gonna go and say it. God damn it. This man, a little girl, not only did he murder her, he sexually assaulted her. And he did it again after she had passed away. Just when you think stuff can't get no more crazier, it always does.
The most disgusting and sadistic murders imaginable. But before we continue with Damien's horrific actions, let's first understand how he got here in the first place. And that begins with the lives of Terry Harris and her children. Described as caring and loving, Terry Harris was born in London to her parents Angela Smith and Lawrence Harris. Growing up in the East End, she was a city girl by nature, but at the age of 17, she moved to Sheffield with her mother. Around the same time, her father moved to Essex, leaving Terry with 2 homes 200 miles apart. It was during her time in Sheffield that Terry eventually caught the attention of a man named Jason Bennett. Fast forward several years, and the two had welcomed 2 beautiful children into the world, that being John Paul and Lacey Bennett. Lacey was described as a compassionate young girl who loved to perform. She enjoyed making TikTok videos with her friends and was attending dance class at school. As for her older brother, John Paul was described as a calm boy who loved his family. Both children attended Outward Academy City School and were very popular with good grades. Now Terry was smitten with her children. She poured her heart and soul into caring for them and being a good mother, and it's quite evident that she was one too. This came quite naturally for her too, because as a care worker, she was both professionally and naturally sensitive, understanding and patient. And as for Jason, he was a great father as well. But sadly, after 15 years together, they would unfortunately divorce. Now, as always, this did leave the family with both grief and separation, but both parents did their very best to keep their children happy. And Jason would keep in regular contact with his children daily. And Terry had another love in her life anyway, that being West Ham Football Club. Terry felt the void that many single adults feel. I mean, she loved her children, but she also desired to be looked after too. And so, with that in mind, in the year 2020, she began to look for a new partner. She turned to the world of dating apps, a reasonably common way to find love in the modern world. And it's here that, unfortunately, she connected with a man none other than Damien Bendel. As you can already tell from this story, Terry was what almost everyone would describe as a good person. She was an average young mother who loved her children and wanted to be loved back. Unfortunately for her though, Damien would turn out to be the total opposite. Following several conversations, the pair would eventually fall for each other. At the time, she was living in Woodhouse in Sheffield, but by the start of 2021, she would move to Chandos Crescent in Killamarsh with her children and Damien Bendel. But who was Damien exactly?
Man, this one right here, y'all, got me like emotional as hell right now. I'm trying to hold it in. But I don't even know why, man. We have watched so many of these videos, man. But I never could stop this. Like, I could never stop feeling like I'm feeling, man. Like, just seeing those pictures of those beautiful kids with their mama. And then this asshole just come and just literally destroy what they had going on in their life. And just, man. Oh, see... This why let's just go, y'all. Let's just go.
Born in the year 1989, Damien was raised in Swindon and, unfortunately, seemed to weave his path of destruction from a very young age. And for reasons unknown to the rational citizen, he was determined to earn a reputation as a hard man in the local area. But the reality was that almost everything about Damien was actually a total facade. He was involved in criminal enterprise and petty crime from a young age, and as soon as he was set on this path, it all seemed to snowball over the years. Those who knew Damien when he was younger would later say that his main objective was being seen as dangerous rather than being anything of the sort. And his sporadic efforts as a cage fighter, which he often failed at by the way, were proof of this. He also had True Blue tattooed across his knuckles, the motto of famous London football club Chelsea. However, despite the relatively short journey away from home, he had never actually seen them play in person. It is also reported that Damien has several Nazi tattoos on his legs, but it is generally understood that he could not tell you anything about the Third Reich or their ideologies. In other words, he was just an attention-seeking bad boy. In addition to this, Damien often boasted about killing his friend's dog. When his mate couldn't afford to have her put down, Damien said, quote, he'd do it for free with a brick. Now, hopefully, this is merely another one of his made-up stories to appear tough. But concerningly, numerous friends around Swindon do claim that this happened. To make matters even worse, he was known to have enjoyed torturing kittens. This comes up now and again in my videos, but killing animals is one of the most noticeable hallmarks of a murderer. Damien had...
Hell yeah, it is. That is exactly, bro. If you know somebody out there who enjoy killing cats, whether it be stray cats, stray dogs, or like real family pets, if you know somebody out there who enjoy doing that shit, more than likely they will enjoy killing a human too. That is a warning sign, man. This dude right here is already like, I'm trying not to goddamn be too emotional, my brothers and sisters. I'm trying to hold it in. But I know I'm finna erupt in a second. But let's just keep going.
Also diagnosed himself to have multiple personalities, admitted that he was prone to snapping at the moment, and often gave people a 3-warning system. In other words, people would be in big trouble if they ever crossed him 3 times. Based on what I have told you so far, you can probably guess that this man had long-standing issues with alcohol and drug abuse. Damien had no control over his habits, actions, or his behavior, and so he was constantly in trouble with the law. This included several charges, including attempted robbery, armed robbery, robbery in possession of a knife, inflicting grievous bodily harm, and assault. One of these incidents occurred in the year 2015 when he tried to rob a local shop with a knife. But going back to how this man was all bark and no bite, He then ran away when the elderly shopkeeper chased him out with a golf club. It is worth highlighting here that, although Damien's violent history should be taken very seriously, Terry initially had no idea about any of this. And that's thanks to the mask he wore online. We all know this already, but the internet is filled with liars, narcissists and murderers who can all create the illusion that they are good, happy, successful people. Now, all of this is particularly pertinent on social media, but the one place where it is extremely dangerous is, of course, dating apps, because that's where you get very close to other people. Now, Damien...
Hey man, real talk. Adrian spitting right now. He ain't telling nothing but true facts. All these people, I'm not gonna say all of them, but a lot of these people, or some of these people, whatever, I don't know the ratio, but I'm just saying, man, some of these people, whatever that you be seeing on social media, whatever social media it is, or dating app, they act like they somebody, but in real life, they are a completely different person, man. You know what I'm saying? Even YouTube. So just be safe, my brothers and sisters. Long story short, story long. Because some motherfuckers out here crazy as hell, but they know how to put on that mask to make it look like they the most godly, perfect, not perfect. Nobody is perfect, but just the most pure person on earth. And behind closed doors, they are the fucking devil. Stay safe, y'all.
Damien may have seemed like a caring, attentive and charming young man, but in reality, he was a poor excuse of a human being, one with a violent history behind him, and unfortunately, he would worm his way into Terry's life. A mere few months into their relationship, friends close to Terry began to voice their concerns about Damien. His violent nature had slipped down the grapevine, with rumours of charges and convictions circling the family household. Now, Terry's mother was extremely worried by this, and would often beg her daughter to reconsider the relationship. She was worried about what he could do under the wrong circumstances, and unfortunately, that gut instinct was right. But Terry believed that she could change Damien for the better. She was a loving, caring and kind woman who saw the best in everyone. And although she recognized that Damien did have a bad side to him, she believed that he merely needed the right environment to thrive. And sadly, in the month of September 2020, only 5 months after connecting with Damien, Terry would move to Killamarsh and he would move in with her. Now, Swindon was a long way away from Sheffield and the village of Killamarsh, and moving 200 miles up north for a partner you had only recently met on Tinder is a huge red flag in itself. But saying that, it is quite easy to understand how Terry felt special from this. Now, one of the main contributing factors behind this is also probably because she became pregnant in recent months. And with a child on the way, she likely believed that her new partner would smarten up and become a good father. Circling back to Damien's dependency on drugs, even his time behind bars was laced with problems. According to cellmates, he was often high on drugs and couldn't even function properly. For those of you who aren't aware, spice is a synthetic marijuana that, quite bluntly, should be avoided at all costs. I'm not sure about the rest of the world, but it's quite an epidemic here in the UK. I think I'll just stick to coffee instead. Upon relocating to Terry's home found in Killamarsh, Damien was already under probation for arson-related charges, and had to report to an officer weekly. And furthermore, he was required to wear an electronic ankle bracelet and stay in the property at all times. One aspect that I find very concerning about this case is that Damien was bailed into the home which already had 2 young children, neither of which were even related to him. I mean, colour me cautious, but I believe that's an oversight. Now, given his long and violent history, you would have thought that these probation officers would have reconsidered their decision. But sadly, they never thought about it. His conviction of arson was yet another terrible decision made while under the influence of horrible drugs. In the several years leading up to 2021, he had become heavily addicted to cocaine, marijuana, spice, methamphetamine, and even morphine. And although Damien claimed that he was clean from drugs, this was not actually the case.
Man, that man was on everything. He on every drug under the sun. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but man, goddamn, bro. Like, and this might sound crazy too, but I do goddamn, like, I don't feel sorry for him, but I just feel sorry for the fact that humans could even, like, succumb to all this shit. You know what I'm saying, man? Not particularly him, but I'm just saying, man, I just hate these drugs even exist for people to get into. And one thing, Coffee Man said marijuana. Ain't nothing wrong with no marijuana. Ain't shit wrong with a little marijuana in your life. But all that other stuff, I agree wholeheartedly with, man. And I just hate that it even exists.
Sadly, it would become undeniable on the final day of Terry's life. September the 18th, 2021. It was a Saturday, and the Harris Bendel household had a busy weekend ahead. The entire family were at home, with the addition of Lacey's friend Connie Gent. The two young girls were motivated to raise money for cancer awareness. As a result, they'd put together a bunch of cakes and sweets and sold them at a local park stall. Tragically,
I'm just saying, y'all, I know I had to stop the video again, but I gotta stop it right here just to say this. Like, how a human could look at these two young, innocent, beautiful little children and murder them? How could you do it? Like, can somebody in the comments write down below what the fuck would be wrong with you to do that? How could you do anything but freaking love them and be nice to them? As a human being, as an adult. Mental issues are real, but mental issues for me do not excuse killing two beautiful young ladies like that with all their life ahead of them. Rest in peace. Rest in freaking peace.
Unknown to anyone at the time, this would be the final picture of them alive. Just hours later, both girls would be dead. The reason for this would be Damien Bendel, because after finishing his stockpile of weed and alcohol, he then consumed 3 to 4 bags of cocaine throughout the rest of the day, apparently leading to an eventual blackout. And after exhausting this supply too, he then attempted to reach his dealer to purchase even more. But after making multiple calls without any success, he then began to lose his temper. And tragically, at this very moment, he lost grasp on any reason and rationality that he had. Based on mobile phone data, it is believed that the following actions happened over an 18-minute time span. After locating and grabbing his claw hammer, Damien attacked Terry. As a result, she was murdered in cold blood in the living room, killing her unborn child in the process. After this, he then marched upstairs, found John Paul in the bathroom, and murdered him too. Damien then murdered Connie before attacking, abusing, and murdering Lacey. Disgustingly, autopsy reports suggest that this abuse occurred more than once throughout the night. And to make matters even worse, he positioned a mirror in the room so he could watch himself do it. By 6 AM the following morning, he had grabbed John Paul's Xbox and left the property, hoping to sell it in exchange for more drugs. During this time frame, phone records show that he once again tried to contact his dealer. Damien then phoned a cab driver, waited for him to arrive, and made his way to the dealer. And when he was asked by the cab driver how his evening was going, he said, "Not too bad, a bit mad." A surveillance camera captured him walking around the streets of Sheffield with an Xbox in hand. Shortly after this, he then returned home. After arriving back at Chandos Crescent, he called his mother for a conversation while going to a convenience store, and surveillance cameras located inside the store show him buying a pack of cigarettes with blood clearly visible on his hands. He then returned home, weakly attempted to take his own life with a bread knife, and then dialed 999. And while on the phone to emergency services, he said, "The whole house is covered in claret. I used a hammer. Obviously, I'm going to prison because I murdered 4 people. I bet you don't get 4 murders in Killamarsh, do you?" And
that's what I'm saying, man. Like, if you look at all the footage, CCTV footage of when he was walking around and all that, he didn't have no care in the world about it. Like, he's so nonchalant, like he really don't freaking care, man. But the thing that just stuck to me the most is the fact that he murdered that girl, sexually violated her, and while he was doing it, he positioned a mirror so he can see himself doing it. Dude, if that don't strike a nerve with y'all, I don't know what the fuck on the planet Earth will. I did not expect myself to get this emotional in this video, man, but are you kidding me?
As we know, that is when officers intervened at the property. I hate to say it, but I told you that this story would get much worse in detail. And if you already think that Damien is a twisted man, well, unfortunately, I have more terrible news. You see, Damien was not one to hide from the truth. In fact, he seemed to be quite confident when openly confessing that he'd murdered an entire family to officers. And with his partner being pregnant with his baby at the time of murdering her, he would then cheekily ask with a grin on his face if technically he'd murdered 4 people or 5.
I never even addressed this part of it, y'all. And I should have been addressed this, but I'm addressing it now. He murdered, let me calm down. He murdered his baby mama. His freaking baby mama. So not only did he kill her, he killed his unborn child. I just caught a fucking headache. My head just started hurting. I'm serious, man. Like right up in here, I got some sharp pains going through my head. Is this dude fucking serious? What in the fuck is going on, y'all? How could somebody be this fucking evil and stupid and just sadistic in the head? Man.
Moving into the legal proceedings of this case, Damien would make his first appearance at Derby Crown Court only 6 days later, that being on September the 24th, 2021. Fast forward 15 months to December the 21st, 2022, he was found guilty on 4 counts of murder and 1 count of sexual assault. As a result, Damien Bendel was sentenced to a whole life term, meaning under no circumstances will he ever be released from prison. It is important to note here that whole life sentences are extremely rare in British law and are only given to the most vile of criminals. Whole life sentences are only ever applied when there is a belief that there is no chance that the accused would ever be rehabilitated. And while this sounds like a relatively sensible and reasonable option to the average citizen, this sentence is often legally challenged. But what was most surprising about this case was the results of an inquest that reviewed the probation system and whether any failings or faults had occurred in the process. The inquest concluded that there were 51 distinct failures which played a role in Damien Bendel being outside of prison and permitted to reside at Terry's and her children's home. And despite previous allegations of an inappropriate relationship with a 16-year-old foster care girl, this information was inaccurately recorded and not reported during his probation assessment. Even more concerning, when Damien, who was mandated to wear an electronic tag, openly expressed a threat to kill his partner and children if the relationship soured, the officer responsible for tagging him chose not to report it. Had this information been known, he would have almost definitely been prohibited from staying at the same address. Another significant contributing factor was misclassifying his risk level as medium instead of the accurate high. If adequate—
Now, I gotta stop it, man. Now, how do you feel like that officer who dismissed all what Damien told him about, I will kill my wife and my, this is the wife, girlfriend, whatever, and the kids if this relationship don't go right? Mr. Officer, bro. Can and not even just talking to him no more. I'm talking to everybody who got some control over these people who we see the red flags from. Can y'all start fucking taking those red flags seriously and doing something about it to prevent stuff like this from happening? I feel like this could have been avoided, man. This is so unfortunate.
Adequately assessed, his suspended sentence for arson in May of 2020 would have likely led to incarceration, thus preventing him from crossing paths with Terry and averting the tragic events. Probation officers who were involved in these oversights would reveal that they were severely overworked and understaffed. And during the inquest, they attributed their challenges to the lack of experienced colleagues in the office due to COVID-19. But worryingly, they would also admit to only reviewing 2 out of of the 10 available background reports on Damien. As a result, one of those officers involved in the process lost their jobs due to, quote, gross misconduct. And although Terry, John Paul, Lacey and Connie were the real victims of this case, it was their loved ones that felt the burden. Terry's parents, Angela and Lawrence, expressed seething statements when this inquest was finally made public. In a letter, they said, "The probation service failed to protect and keep our family safe. They are now gone. This must never happen again. For many years, they have been failing women and children at risk from violent men with a history of domestic abuse." The senior coroner for Derby also commented on the probation service's weak attempt to blame COVID-19 for their failings. In his own statement, he said, "They don't explain the totality of the acts or omissions or failures of the probation service's overview and supervision of Damien Bendel and the decisions made." The probation service acknowledged that they fell short along every step and stage of the process, and pledged that they would review and repair their categorically broken system. In addition to this, they were also provided additional funding to the annual tune of £155 million to help improve their service. And this was under the sole condition that they tighten up their infrastructure and train officers to a higher caliber. But sadly, as we all know, it is too little too late for our 4 victims. And although their deaths may prevent additional ones in the future, this tragedy never should have happened in the first place.
Nope.
Following a service at St Giles Parish Church, Terry Harris was laid to rest on October the 21st, 2021. 2 white horses solemnly pulled her coffin, adorned in the colours of her cherished West Ham. Remembered by her family and friends as a kind woman known for her generous smile, Terry was a devoted and caring mother and a compassionate care worker who went above and beyond to assist those in need. John Paul and Lacey Bennett, along with Connie Gent, had their lives tragically cut short. The deaths of these children are especially poignant, as their potential, dreams, and entire futures were extinguished in an instant. It is particularly hard to accept Connie's death, who was merely visiting for a sleepover. Simultaneously, it is thoroughly enraging to know the pure horror Lacey must have experienced as she lay there dying. Each of them had their futures abruptly erased at the hands of a pitiful coward. A career criminal and addict who, with no control over his own life, committed a final and deadly act to end the lives of 4 innocent individuals. Damien Bendel was a plastic gangster, a wannabe hard man, and an absolute waste of space. This so-called man struggled throughout his life to establish any real value, and merely substituted substance with hollow attempts to appear tough or dangerous. Even mentioning his name does an absolute disservice. He achieved nothing in his sordid little life, and thankfully will never see the light of day again. Instead, our focus should be on remembering those who lost their lives at his hands, and further acknowledging the changes implemented to prevent such a tragedy from occurring again. Although changes in procedure, reallocation of funding, and personal dismissals cannot bring loved ones back, they do represent a step in the right direction moving forward. Following their deaths, neighbours put a memorial plate on the tree outside the family home. The plate said, "Where angels sang and played. Fly high, little ones." Nobody was prepared to move into a house which had witnessed so much bloodshed, and so it was decided to permanently board up the property instead. Neighbours of the connecting home were not comfortable sharing walls with a haunted house, so they too requested to be moved. After moving out, Sheffield Council made the decision to tear down the entire property, and now it is an extension of the park that already existed beside it. A fresh cavity in the ground rests as a morbid reminder of the horrors which took place here, but at least over time, grass and flowers will return to the land where this home used to be. What I find odd is that, through no intention whatsoever, I think this is the 3rd or 4th British case in a row that I've covered where the probation service could have prevented these deaths. Anyway folks, this case is absolutely infuriating, and as always I'd love to know what you think about this one, because for me I just can't get over how much of a monster this guy is. On that note, I'm wrapping this one up here folks, so please leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thank you so much for being here and watching this video. I really do appreciate you being here. Just a few very short updates for things that are coming up on the channel, but very soon I'll be doing another Q&A video here on YouTube. So keep an eye out on my community posts. In addition to that, if you want to get early access to my videos, be part of a wider Q&A, or get exclusive content, then please check out my Patreon. If you want to see other things that I'm doing outside of true crime like coffee and travelling, then please check out my Instagram. I'll be doing lots of other things over there too, such as giveaways. And finally, if you want to grab a bag of my very own coffee, then please check out Classified at classifiedcoffeeco.com. I really do appreciate your support. And yeah, I think that pretty much ends our video today, folks. By the way, I've got so many exciting things coming to Coffeehouse Crime in the coming months. The first one happening in about 1 or 2 weeks, where I'm trying to do my very first long-form video of over 1 hour. So please keep up to date on that. We've got lots of really cool things happening, such as Q&As, long-form videos lasting over 1 hour, and even live reporting on the scene. So, with that said, please stick around for 2024. I can't wait for this year. Anyway, we're back to 2 videos a week for now, so I'll see you again very soon for another one, folks, likely in 3 or 4 days. Until that moment arrives though, remember to look after yourself, look after each other, and of course, stay safe. Thank you, and goodbye.
Man, y'all. First and foremost, Coffee Man got a lot of stuff going on. This gonna be a great year for the Coffee Man. Shout out to the Coffee Man. But the whole little ending of the video, man, that's why I got so quiet. You ever been so fucking mad and pissed off about some shit till you just get quiet? Like you just freaking like disbelief in a type of rage where, you know, if you erupt, you won't just go crazy. And I'm not trying to have that fucking rant with y'all tonight. I'm not trying to go crazy like that tonight, man. First and foremost, just rest in peace to those 4 souls, man. Terry, John Bennett, Lacey Bennett, and Connie. And just think about this, the type of stuff that make you don't even want to let your kids go spend the night or have a sleepover at their friend house, because the little girl who just went over there having a sleepover and she get tossed into this. He ain't not only not killing his family members, even though they weren't even his blood family members, but not only that, he killing the damn friend. Killing the little girl of the family, the little girlfriend of the family. This is so freaking messed up, y'all. I'm hurt off this one, man. I'm really hurt, and I don't give a fuck, man. I don't care. The dude, and we've been talking about this last couple videos. I've been battling with the mental issues, and do these murderers have mental issues, and does that kind of make it okay? Does that make it a little better, or should I be so mad at them if I know that they have mental issues? Yes, I'm still keeping the same fucking energy for all of them. I don't give a damn about your fucking mental issues. I give a fuck about those 4 people who lost their lives because of your bullshit. Rest in fucking hell, you fucking asshole. I digress, my brothers and sisters. I'ma go and get up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all coming back. No lie. Love y'all to fucking death. Stay the fucking safe out there, y'all. Don't fuck with no crazy motherfuckers, and always stay on your tippy fucking toes. And before y'all leave, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do all that. And come on back tomorrow, because we're going back to AJ from the Wi-Fi's. And until then, my friends, I also gotta say this. Love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.